So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. England have become the third team after Australia and India to have booked themselves a place into the semi-finals of the ICC World Cup 2019. In a match that was supposed to be a virtual quarter-finals of sorts, you can say, a win for either team putting them through to the final four. It was England who emerged victorious, and to an extent that they ended up thrashing New Zealand by 119 runs to finally make it to their first semi-final of the World Cup since the 1992 edition. Based on that, I'm sure people can imagine how much this victory means for England, who kind of seem to have lost a little bit of momentum following those two defeats at the hands of Pakistan and Australia. But nothing like a resounding win as this. They are now on the third spot on the points table and will face either India or Australia depending on the outcome of their final group stage. To recap the match, it was England who won a very important toss here at the Chesterley Street in Durham, and opting to bat first. It was not surprising enough. It was once again that man Jonny Bairstow who just led the way with a fabulous second century on the trot. His 9th ODI century, once again forming the base for a strong England total of 305. Although the total could have been a lot more. At one stage, England were 160 odd in 25 overs, and at that scenario, you would have backed them to get at least 350. But in that middle period, there was a strong comeback by New Zealand in which they picked up 7 wickets for 66 runs and eventually restricted England to 305. Other contributions being another fabulous half century from Jason Roy. It's just that, once Jonny Bairstow and Jason Roy are up at the middle, England 9 out of 10 times end up managing to get a strong start. New Zealand couldn't really do that with the bat, as many would have expected them to. It was once again left to Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor. Martin Guptill once again enduring a failure, falling in single digits. And Henry Nicholls, a bad decision you can say, because the team management has been pondering whether to get him or Colin Munro. 2 games in a row, Nicholls hasn't really started firing, and this might probably force New Zealand to go back to somebody like Munro for the semi-finals, provided they qualify. Like I was saying, Guptill falling cheaply, and then Ross Taylor and Williamson trying to get New Zealand back on track with a 47-run partnership. But unfortunately, as it was, Williamson got run out. He paid the price for backing up a little too far, and through a crunching drive from Ross Taylor, the ball just touched Mark Wood's fingers and went on to hit the stumps. Williamson was run out. Unfortunately for New Zealand, Ross Taylor couldn't capitalize on yet another start, and he got some 28 runs, and although looked dodgy, he was just trying to get set and probably on the verge of leading New Zealand to their road of recovery, but that didn't happen. He was run out shortly after, and from there it just didn't really work out. There was a little counter-attacking partnership in between Tom Latham and James Neesham, but even that 50 runs of 49 balls wasn't enough, because New Zealand kept losing wickets, and England's like shark, smelling blood and just returning to finish and bowl New Zealand out for 186. For England, a much needed win, as they now go to face either Australia or India in the semi-finals, and New Zealand, a little bit of a disappointment there, because considering they were one of the 2 teams who started off this tournament as an unbeaten side, there must be a little bit of concern considering the fact that they have now lost 3 matches in a row.